Championship, and really the father of the Lipton International Players Championships, Mr. Butch Buckholz. On the left of your screen, naturally, Chris Evert, Mary Jo Fernandez from the Miami area. On the right of your screen, Chris Evert seeded 2 in the championship, first point. Mary, they played a year ago, as we've already said. They also played last week in the Virginia Slims of Florida. Again, that one by Chris, but she has said that she played awfully well in that match.
Yeah, that was 6-2, 6-3. Chris knows how hard it is to play Mary Jo Fernandez, how much she must concentrate. Mary Jo, as we said, plays so much like Chris. She's a good all-around player. She can volley. It's a pity that she hasn't yet started to volley more. Her service certainly improved. I think she must volley. She must attack Chris if she's ever going to beat her. As far as Chris goes, really, everything about her game is looking pretty good. Her serve still shakes a bit sometimes when she feels threatened.
Just long.
The interesting thing about Chris Evert, I think, though, is that except for the mental part of Evert's game, which, you know, it's hard for her these days to mentally focus as well as she used to when she was a lot younger, but every other department has improved. Unfortunately for Chris, her opponents have improved too.
Including Mary Jo. Oh, that's a great shot from Mary Jo. First game of the match, best of 3 sets, of course. Game point for Evert.
We see Chris just checking the position of the sun. It is playing havoc with the players, more so to the second court, that ad court down here. The court that she's serving to now, position of the sun is not good for the server.
This is exactly what Mary Jo has to do against Chris Evert today. She's got to go after her. She's got to take chances. She can open up the court so well. She can work a point, build it. And at that point, as she just did there, she's got to bang, go for her shots. Otherwise, Chris will.
3 in a row, it's deuce.
I don't think Mary Jo can beat Chris from the back of the court like this. I feel, as Mary said, she's got to really take a few more risks when she gets those opportunities.
3 first points of the match to Chris. Then Mary Jo came back and won the next 3. Chris won the last point, so it's game point. First game of the match. It is amazing how similarly they play, not only from a strategic standpoint, but if you watch how they take the racket back, I mean, it's not like one even has a little loop or anything. They are exactly, it's like a carbon copy. It must feel to Chris like she's playing in a mirror.
Well, in 1985, when pro tennis first had a good look at Mary Jo, that's what they said. Everyone said she's the next Chris Evert.
Well, in that mode, Mary, as you know, I worked with Mary Jo quite a lot from the time she was 13, 14, 15. Not a lot now. She comes up occasionally. Now she's on the tour and I'm so busy. But at that stage, and still now, she idolised Chris Evert and, of course, built her entire strategy and her stroke production around that of Chris.
You'd never guess.
It worked.
But little did she expect then to be out on the same court with her just 4 years down the line, 3 or 4 years down the line. They've played 6 times.
Game point again. And Mary Jo Fernandez breaks Chris Evert in the first game of this best-of-3 set match. This is the Lipton International Players Championships. We're coming to you from Key Biscayne in Florida. Chris Evert is playing Mary Jo Fernandez in the 3rd round match. Make that the 4th round match. Fernandez has broken Chris in the first game of the match.
We'll have to watch those double faults. Chris doubling there on that break point.
Yeah, again, the sun there is Mary. That's the problem. That's again that angle where the sun is. At the start of this match, you find both players might have a problem there with the serve early.
Wir hätten Ihnen dieses Programm natürlich gerne mit deutschem Kommentar angeboten. Leider ist uns das aus rechtlichen Gründen nicht möglich. Wir bitten dafür um Ihr Verständnis.
Crowd don't like that lollipop that she hits from the back of the court, do they? She did a lot of that last year in her matches. Less of it this year, though. Ross Scott for the winner.
Nice angles from both players in this last point.
2 games to love.
Very commanding way that Fernandez ended that one. Chris, this pops up gives Mary Jo a lot of time, and she knows to spank it away. Again, she's got to maintain that kind of attitude. Play very, very positive tennis against Evert. And that famous Chris changeup comes out of nowhere, doesn't it? The forehand drop shot, she does it equally well and with just as much disguise off the backhand side. But the great thing about Chris is that she'll throw that in right at the beginning of a point when few players expect it.
Result just in from an outside court. Aaron Crickstein playing good tennis this year, isn't he? He is in the quarterfinals of the championship. He beat Jaime Zaga of Peru.
It's a very important game for Evert. Chris really needs to win this game. She claims, and it's true, she's a notoriously slow starter. She doesn't want to start slowly against Mary Jo and allow Mary Jo to have a lot of confidence in this match.
Emilio Sanchez of Spain earlier today over Tom Neeson of Holland, 24-year-old. So Sanchez is in the quarterfinals. He'll play the winner of Connors and Curran.
Fernandez did the right thing. She tried to go for the big shot, tried to intimidate Chris and hit an outright winner. Just didn't work.
So Chris Evert holds on to serve, but she's a serve breakdown in the first set, 2-1 in this women's singles fourth round match. Mary Jo Fernandez, still a student at Carrollton High here. She's a senior now, so this is her final year.
Jim March from the Miami Herald, they had a very nice piece on Mary Jo. They went out to school for a day with Mary Jo at the Carrollton High School, and she's an A student and doesn't play a lot of tournaments and possibly could be ranked a little higher if she did compete in more events, but she likes school and maybe will go on to college. She says she would like to go on to college, to Stanford possibly, but I think that tennis will take the better of that over the next couple of years.
Well, she did turn pro. I mean, that she still goes to school is testimony to the balance in Mary Jo's life, but she turned pro in '86. People were waiting for her to turn pro in '85 after she totally dominated the junior rank, but she resisted the temptation.
Actually, she would have resisted it for a little bit longer, except that she won the Orange Bowl and was the only youngster to win all of those categories, 12s, 14s, 16s, and 18s, 4 years in a row. Even the great one that she's playing against, Chris Evert, did not do that. So that was the reason for turning pro to take advantage of that situation where endorsements would come a little more freely.
And oddly enough, her endorsements are handled by Chris's younger brother, John Evert. He's her agent.
Her father was born in Spain. Her mother's from Cuba. They met in Cuba when he was over there on an assignment. He's a lawyer. By the way, she was born in the Dominican Republic. That's Mary Jo I'm talking about. Lipton has been good to her. She was a semi-finalist here last year, as we've said a number of times, and she beat Pam Shriver here in '87. Break point for Chris.
One stage, Cliff, they also wanted her to play for Spain because of parents. And she resisted that also, to remain here and try and play Whiteman Cup for the United States.
So Chris breaks back 2 games all first set. Mary Jo has never beaten Chris, and the matches really have been pretty one-sided, with the exception of one in '87 when they went to 3 sets and played a tiebreaker on the clay court in the European Open in '87. But as we said, they played last week. The Virginia Sims of Florida, Evert won that 2 and 3, but she felt that she had to work hard to do it, and she said that she played awfully well after that match.
Chris says of Mary Jo that she's a tough match mentally and physically. Chris had a tough one with Kathy Rinaldi earlier in this draw. She said, especially after Rinaldi, I'm glad I don't have to play Mary Jo right away. Chris had another win and then had a day off in preparation for this match. She said, we both feel badly that the draw panned out this way. Rinaldi went 6 and 4 with Chris. Then Chris easily beat Natalie Tozia. Had a day off for this.
Chris's parents and Andy Mill on the right, her husband.
Wir hätten Ihnen dieses Programm natürlich gerne mit deutschem Kommentar angeboten. Leider ist uns das aus rechtlichen Gründen nicht möglich. Wir bitten dafür um Ihr Verständnis.
Again, that shot right out of Chris Evert's notebook, isn't it? Beautiful feel off that drop shot from Mary Jo Fernandez. And again, the technique, the preparation is so like her opponent's.
Just going to say, Mary, as you see that drop shot from her, which is so similar a shot as you see Evert trying to track it down, that if there's one thing that you could say is probably the best thing that you could learn from watching these two players, it is the way that they prepare, the early preparation. Break point for Mary Jo. She has broken already once in the match. So Mary Jo Fernandez breaks for the second time and leads 3-2 in the first set.
Permanent am Ball, mehr als 200 Stunden pro Jahr von den besten Turnieren der Welt und vieles davon live. Mit 35 US-PGA-Ereignissen exklusiv auf dem Sportkanal. Schalten Sie ein, denn wenn es um Golf auf dem Bildschirm geht, gibt es nur den Sportkanal.
Many people consider skiing, especially cross-country skiing, to be great fun and great exercise, burning up all those unwanted calories, as well as firming and toning your whole body. Introducing Ski Glider, a simple exercise machine that you will very quickly feel working your entire body, helping you firm up and strengthen your thighs, calves, buttocks, arms, chest and back. We believe Ski Glider will make you look and feel fantastic. Total fitness is now in everyone's reach. You can tone your upper and lower body, as well as improve your heart, your lungs and circulatory system. All this in less than 20 minutes every other day. It's easier to use than an exercise bike and much more fun. There are no age limits to Ski Glider, and because you can work at your own pace, it's ideal for the athlete or amateur. Just look at the quality construction, complete with 2 adjustable poles and tension adjustments. These heavy metal pads glide smoothly on the tracks. You'll feel the calories burning off as you firm and tone your whole body. Why spend time jogging, riding, doing sit-ups, aerobics? Why spend money on expensive exercise classes when Ski Glider does it all, simply, safely and easily, in the privacy of your own home? Best of all, it folds away for easy storage. Don't be fooled by inferior models. This is the one and only genuine Ski Glider and is available to you together with a 12-month money-back guarantee that if you do not feel and look 100% better after using Ski Glider, you may return it for a full refund, no questions asked. Yes, act now.
Denmark, call 02 236032. Sweden, 0587 14570. Norway, call 034 98388. Finland, 924 62556. In Holland, call 06 8345. That's 06 8345. Germany, call 0711 7776352. In Ireland, call Dublin 784 684. And in the UK, call 01 431 5222. Call us now or anytime.
Capture the action. The world's best tennis is in Tennis World, Britain's best-selling tennis magazine. The backgrounds to the big tournaments. Picture the players on and off the court. If it's happening in the world of tennis, it's in Tennis World. Improve your own game with tips from the masters. There's 10 outstanding issues a year for just £16 for the UK or £36 if you live in continental Europe, which includes air mail. For your subscription, call the UK on 0442 874947. Have your Access or MasterCard ready, or send a cheque or Euro cheque in sterling to Tennis World, P.O. Box 385, Berkhamsted, Hertfordshire, HP4 3AR. Tennis World.
Beautiful scenery that we show you from time to time is all shot in the general vicinity here of the Key Biscayne area. 3-2 Fernandez with a break first set.
And again, this game becomes very important for Chris Evert because for the second time, she double faulted away on a break point against Fernandez. So she's got to come right back into Mary Jo's face this game. Show her who's still boss in this rivalry.
As we told you, this match was played earlier today. It was finished just about an hour ago, and I want to tell you, as you look at that stat on Mary Jo, that you will hear noises, crowd noise from other courts. This is a big complex here. Matches are going on as we watch this match along with you.
Experience there of Chris Evert shows with the good depth on the ball, and Mary Jo just around half court throughout that rally. Chris just 2 or 3 feet inside that baseline. It's tough to do much with that type of shot. There's the Sun a problem. That's where Chris has served her double faults from, and Mary Jo is just really pushing the serve from that side. She's hitting it, a good solid serve on the deuce court, but not so much on that side. There's another one.
Long.
But Fred, I don't think it's fair just to point to the Sun when you watch double faults coming from Chris Evert. I mean, in the last couple of years, she has said that, you know, she's trying to beef up her serve, and she definitely has more speed on the ball. Well, but that she does tend to double fault more, and she says it's nerves, it's tension, it's all sorts of things. I just don't think it's always the Sun, is what I'm saying.
Well, all I'm saying is that's where the Sun is, and it's a little more difficult to serve from that point than it is from this end of the side. I think you'll see that the double faults have come from that end of the court and not from this other end.
There have been 4 breaks of serve in 6 games, 2 apiece. Three games all, 30-15. Chris, of course, has lost her serve twice in the set so far. Great point. And break, at least game point for Chris Evert now.